Hello and welcome to Recap Sports. I'm Rubin Wright. This is Coutts. This is Billy Frey, and we're here with the NFL Recap Show of your NFL Sunday and NFL Monday, and as well as your NFL Thursday. We're going to start it off on Thursday. The Arizona Cardinals played the San Francisco 49ers. Arizona won 33-21. What happened, guys?
I don't know. It's an impressive win for the Cardinals, winning without Carson Palmer. But, I mean, the 49ers are a pretty weak team as of right now, and I didn't see much of a shocker there.
I wouldn't really call it an impressive one of any sorts. They're playing the San Francisco 49ers defense, who are ranked with one of the worst defenses in the league. So no shocker there. They had all their other offensive weapons besides Carson Palmer, who hasn't been playing well. And overall, this was a more high-scoring game than I thought it was going to be without Carson Palmer. I was very impressed by what Drew Stanton actually Blaine Gabbert. Besides Gabbert's 2 interceptions, he rushed for 70 yards. Very impressive. And Drew Stanton proved he's a capable backup in this league by not turning the ball over much. But overall, the Cardinals take it away because of David Johnson's big showing of over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And overall, a very surprising, high-scoring game.
So what do you guys think about Blaine Gabbert being benched and Chip Kelly saying that Colin Kaepernick will start next game?
Well, I know we have a little disagreement on this, but I'm ready to see Kaepernick play. I know he's a little out of shape, hasn't played in a while, but I think he's underrated, and I want to see him play again.
I think Blaine Gabbert's one of the young and up-and-coming quarterbacks in this league. Now, Jaguars never gave him a chance. He floated around the league for a while. Now he's with the 49ers, finally getting his second chance. He's getting that second chance. But look, he's in a tough division. He's playing tough defenses. He's pulling up magical games. He rushed for 70 yards, which is very impressive for a quarterback. And his longest run was 24 yards nonetheless. And if it wasn't for those 2 picks, statistically, he would have had a better game than Drew Stanton, who won the game. So you can't argue that because of 2 bad throws that Blaine Gabbert's an awful quarterback. No. We're going to see there's too many holes in this team that also that the quarterback change isn't going to magically fix everything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's a decent quarterback. I just want to see Kaepernick play.
I don't want to see Kaepernick play. He should shave his head first.
I mean, how many games did you get right last week?
Well, a lot of these guys had bum weeks.
Yeah. A tough time for, some NFL players. But the Cardinals are now 2-3. San Francisco's now falls to 1-4. What do you guys think of the Cardinals' resurgence after their, awful start to the year?
I wouldn't call it a resurgence. Again, they're playing the 49ers. They're gonna lose this upcoming week to the Jets, I think, on Monday night because Carson Palmer's still coming back from his concussion. As of now, he's cleared. Yeah, he's cleared, but his status could still be in question. And honestly, I don't think the Cardinals have everything together yet, and I think the Jets could form a challenge for them, who are trying to make a comeback as well.
Depending on the quarterback, of course.
Well, moving on to a Sunday game. Washington played Baltimore. Washington won 16-10. What do you guys think of Kirk Cousins' kind of resurgence to bring the Redskins back?
Well, this was one of my upsets for the week. I thought the Ravens would pull the win out of this. It was a nice low-scoring game, 16-10, and it was a shocker that the Redskins won, in my opinion.
I think the wrong team won this game. If you look at the stats of all the players, the Ravens clearly played the better game. Kirk Cousins didn't even throw for over 300 yards. He threw a pick. Joe Flacco tremendously played better. Terrence West led the game in rushing yards, and the 2 leading receivers put up more receptions and more yards than the 2 leading receivers on the Redskins. So the matter of this one is clearly just a defensive game here.
Well, both teams are now 3-2 as they move into now the next week. But moving forward, we have New England played Cleveland. This was an interesting game last week, as we predicted on this show back on the prediction show on Friday. We had a certain person on this panel who did pick the Cleveland Browns, one picked the New England Patriots, but New England won 33-13. Tom Brady's return. What did you guys think of it?
Let Mr. Cleveland go first.
Well, the only reason Cleveland lost because they have an unfortunate string of quarterback injuries. We see the heroic rookie Cody Kessler from USC go down first. If he would have stayed in the game, no doubt the Browns could have won this. Then you see clipboard hero Charlie Whitehurst come in, NFL favorite among many fans. He goes down. Now we got Terrell Pryor in the game for a couple snaps, who's never really practiced the offense at quarterback before and hasn't played quarterback in several years. Now, Isaiah Crowell had a bum game. That was also a factor, and that was probably also the main fact. They had no run game. He only rushed for 22 yards. But in fairness, no one on the Patriots team also had a run game. So, honestly, all this really is Tom Brady being back. And since the Browns had their quarterback issues, it's put them set back, and they weren't ready for that.
I think no matter how well the Browns offense have played, I don't think they could have beaten the Patriots. Tom Brady went off 406 yards and 3 touchdowns to Martellus Bennett. Never saw that coming.
Well, Tom Brady's now back, and what do you guys think of the Patriots' chances at least the Super Bowl run?
Pretty good.
I think they're slim. Slim because they played the Browns. Keep in mind.
Yeah,
Okay.
what about the other games?
They played the Browns. The other games, those were all flukes with backup quarterbacks. They played the Browns.
Still won.
Okay. Of course, Tom Brady comes up against a defense where he can just run the score up, okay? They played the Browns. Wait till they start playing tougher teams and they start losing a lot. Okay. And when they get in the playoffs and they lose.
Okay, well, moving forward, I guess time will tell for what the Patriots do in their, future, I guess. But moving forward, the Philadelphia Eagles, a fan favorite on this panel, lost to Detroit 24-23. What do you guys think? What happened in Carson Wentz's first interception game?
I mean, I wouldn't blame it on Carson Wentz an interception. He had an overall pretty good game. I think penalties killed their team. And their defense just couldn't stop the Lions' offense the whole game, and it was a close game, and they lost. But
well, I'm a huge Matt Stafford fan. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. He completely dominated this game, throwing 3 touchdowns. He had a very good first half. The Eagles won the second half, but overall they didn't win the game, so you don't get trophies for playing only one half, unless you're the Detroit Lions in this case. But honestly, the Lions just played a better game because they didn't turn the ball over, and they had a better balance between the rush and the pass. As you can see, Carson Wentz overthrew the ball, attempting 33 times, and there's just more of an even balance on the Lions, and the Lions overall just played defensively better.
So do you think the Eagles' chances moving forward, this is their first loss, but is their chances at that possible playoff run, is it still there?
I think the NFC East is a very competitive division this year between all the teams, especially the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Redskins. Like all the teams in it, any team could win the division, so I don't really know which way it could go.
I think that the NFC East is a broken division, and right now the performance of the teams is just an illusion because of the weakness of all their schedules, because of all how awful all of them were last season. So they all have weak schedules right now, so it looks like they're good, but all of their stats, all of their scores are inflated. So none of them are actually good. It's a broken division still. So of course the Eagles are going to still have a chance because all the other teams in that division are awful once they start playing better teams.
So who do you think out of the NFC East? Who takes the division?
I think the New York Giants simply because of the experience at the quarterback position, experience on defense, and experience at the receiver position. And I just think they have the edge just because of that experience at every slot and category.
Well, you heard it here. New York Giants. But moving forward, Indianapolis played Chicago. Indianapolis won 29-3. And Andrew Luck looks to be back. He looks to be back to his former self, no longer of that unlucky performances he had in the beginning of the year. What do you guys think is about Andrew Luck and his performance?
Well, I was impressed with this win. I thought Andrew Luck would finally come back and get a win, and I'm glad he pulled it off this week. I mean, it was against the Bears, but it was...
I wasn't impressed at all. I don't think he should have won the game. If you, again, like previous games, you look at the stats, it looks like... If I were to just look at the stats, I would have thought the Bears won the game. Brian Hoyer threw for more yards than Andrew Luck did. They both threw the same amount of touchdowns, too. And Brian Hoyer threw more attempts. And of course, Jordan Howard rushed for over 100 yards. And this guy, Meredith, a receiver, I don't even know who he is. He gets 130 yards receiving. Okay, the only reason the Colts won wasn't because of Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck didn't do anything. Andrew Luck just threw the ball to T.Y. Hilton the entire time. T.Y. Hilton won the league, and the defense. So I don't want to hear about Andrew Luck having a good game. Andrew Luck had an average game.
He got himself a win.
Brian Hoyer did better.
All right, well, Brian Hoyer will probably be the new starter of the Bears. No more Jay Cutler.
Brian Hoyer, yes, competing for the starting spot with Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler hurt, and it does not look like his spot will be reassured. What do you guys think of Indianapolis' chance at winning the division, the AFC South? They're there with the Texans, the Titans, and the Jaguars. All 4 teams having meager performances so far.
I think the Jaguars will win the division. They had a rough start in the beginning of the season, but I think they're making a comeback the rest of the season.
I agree. The Jaguars are going to pull through with it. You got the young quarterback Blake Bortles and the elite receiving core with Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson. Not to forget, you got Julius Thomas at tight end and your stud running backs in Ivory and Yeldon. And honestly, the Texans, I don't think they got it together right now, and the Colts are overrated, and the Titans are nowhere near close.
Moving on to another divisional rival, we have the Tennessee Titans versus Miami. Tennessee ended up winning 30-17. Marcus Mariota looks to be on fire, back to that first start. Back to last year in his first career start. Is he here? Is he still the fluke quarterback that we hear about?
I don't know. The Dolphins are one of the weak teams this year in the league, and I don't know. This game there wasn't much to watch for me in this game.
Okay, you know what? Marcus Mariota did not have a good game. Marcus Mariota looks like he had a good game. He threw 3 touchdowns, but you keep forgetting. He did not throw over 200 yards. I don't know any good quarterback that does not throw over 200 yards. Okay? A lot of those touchdowns could have been interceptions. Just like Ryan Tannehill. Then he would just look like Ryan Tannehill the other day. The carrier of this team right now is DeMarco Murray with his resurgence back to form after being misused in Philadelphia last year. And he is the one carrying this team, and that's what the Dolphins are lacking, is a solid run game. And that's why the Dolphins aren't successful and the Titans are.
So do you think, what would solve both their issues? Just run game, you think? You think run game would fix them both?
I think for the Titans, it's more so the defense. They're not really a defensive team right now. They don't got any good X factors there on that defense. And for the Dolphins, I think it's a similar story. The defense, but then they also have lack of depth behind Jarvis Landry at receiver. No one really at tight end. And Jay Ajayi is not doing the job of running back. It's a mistake letting Lamar Miller leave.
Well, you heard it here first. That's the thing. The Titans are now 2-3. Miami falls to 1-4. Miami is having somewhat of a disappointing season, but to be expected if you look at them in some areas. But moving forward, Houston played Minnesota, one of the last undefeated teams. Minnesota pulls away with a win, 31-13. What do you guys think of Sam Bradford and his leading the Minnesota Vikings to now a 5-0 start?
Go ahead, Billy.
Well, I think Bradford's still trash. Sam Bradford, he only threw for 271 yards and 2 touchdowns. If he was the leader of this team, he'd put up like Teddy and throw 3 touchdowns and over 300 yards. But clearly he can't. This is a defensive carry team right now. And this offense is designed on short passes and runs, which means any quarterback can run this offense. So I could put like Jamarcus Russell in, they'd still win. It's a similar offense that New England runs. It's a very vanilla short pass offense. And the problem with the Texans is Bill O'Brien's coaching does not translate well to the NFL, I think. And that's going to be the epitome of the Texans this season.
I agree with that. The Vikings have an elite defense that's holding them together. But I also want to point out that Sam Bradford has 0 interceptions this season, which is also helping out the team.
Well, a lot of quarterbacks, we just wait till he has a bad game. He'll throw 5 picks in a game. So he's Sam Bradford.
So what you're telling me is Jamarcus Russell needs to suit up.
Jamarcus Russell does need to suit up. We've all been waiting for his return for a while. Jamarcus Russell started trying out for teams. We want to see you back on the field.
You heard it here first. Jamarcus Russell needs to come back immediately. But moving forward, the Pittsburgh Steelers played a fan favorite at this table, New York Jets. Pittsburgh won 31-13. Ben Roethlisberger has a great game. Is it time for Fitzpatrick to be benched?
This game was not Fitzpatrick's fault. I trashed Fitzpatrick last week, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here. This was completely fallen apart by the defense here and bad coaching, bad offensive play calling. I'm no longer calling for Fitzpatrick now. Now I am calling for the firing of head coach Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles has no business coaching the New York Jets. He is right now the worst NFL coach in the league and should be not allowed near any NFL offense.
So
Rough.
So what do you think, Kylie?
I mean, this wasn't a shocker for me. I figured the Steelers would pull it away. Their elite offense against the Jets. I mean, the Jets haven't really shown much this season so far, so wasn't a shocker to me.
Yeah, Brand Marshall only had over 100 yards though.
That's true. But
So for the Steelers, their one loss is to the Eagles in a devastating form a couple weeks ago. But do the Steelers are they still in contention for that Super Bowl that they're dying for?
yeah, I think the Steelers have a really good shot this year. Their offense is one of the best in the league. Their defense is not too bad, and I think they could have a run this year.
I don't think so because the Bengals are the team in this division. The Bengals are the younger team. They're going to run away with this once the season starts progressing. I think the Steelers are actually old, and I think they're trash. The Steelers have no business ever winning. They're not going to win a Super Bowl this year. They're not going to win a Super Bowl soon. It's going to be years before they win a Super Bowl again. Their time has passed, and it's the Bengals' time to rise. Bengals and Browns.
Ooh.
The Browns just need some time.
Both of them are not doing so
The
hot.
Browns are on the right track.
The Bengals got another loss this week. So
The Bengals, okay, that was a fluke.
all right, we'll get to that soon.
The Bengals, they're not gonna lose any more games. They're gonna win now, and they're gonna win the Super Bowl.
So is it panic time for the New York Jets? 1-4 start.
I think they're going for a draft pick. Lose out the rest of the season, get that number 1 draft pick. I don't think they got any shot anymore.
I think the best focus of action right now is to fire Todd Bowles immediately, and look for you gotta make your intern head coach someone within the team. So we're going to upgrade Chan Gailey to head coach for now. He was the head coach in Buffalo. He wasn't successful, but we're not looking for wins right now. We're just looking for someone to fill in the spot. Chan Gailey will get fired at the end of the season, and we will pull in former New York Jet Chad Pennington and convince him to be our head coach.
All right.
Chad Pennington.
And our offensive coordinator will be a college offensive hire.
Okay. Well, the Jets, that disastrous 1-4 start, but on the other hand, Pittsburgh goes to a 4-1 start, and they look pretty good. But moving forward, one of the biggest games I feel for everyone was the Atlanta Falcons playing the Denver Broncos. Atlanta came away with the win, 23-16, but it was a high-powered offense versus a high-powered defense. What did you guys take away from this game?
Well, I think the Falcons this year, they're my early Super Bowl pick. I like their offense a lot, and we saw them perform well even against the Broncos' elite defense, and I think the Falcons are going to go far this year. I think they have a lot of potential.
Well, there's a little saying that defense wins championships, but everyone knows that offensive win the smaller games, do better in the season overall. So I think that this is just a result of that philosophy and that term. Matt Ryan's a very underrated quarterback in this league. He put up solid stats against a tough defense. Not very high scoring, but by all means did not turn the ball over, which was expected. But this team was carried this weekend by Devontae Freeman and the running backs Tevin Coleman. And you got to give them a lot of credit. We didn't really see much of Julio Jones again, but this Falcons team is running by a very nice philosophy on offense where it's the next man up. If someone's not having a game, you have another guy clearly like phone, whether that's Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, or Mohamed Sanu if it's not Julio Jones.
So would you say that the Falcons and the Broncos are the two most, I guess the two teams that were unexpected, with the Broncos losing Peyton Manning, having to start Trevor Siemian, and then Siemian gets hurt, of the season, both these teams?
Well, because the Falcons are just viewed as this average team, and right now no one really thinks of anything of Matt Ryan. They were in the playoffs last year, so no one was really expecting them to do much, and this is a surprise to pretty much everybody.
Yeah, and I think the Broncos they started out well this season, but I think the rest of the season is going to be a little rough for them. I don't think they're going to keep up the good record for the rest of the season, personally.
Well, moving on to an interesting game. Dallas at Cincinnati. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, but Dallas wins 28-14. Dak Prescott, is he finally here? Is Tony Romo going to be on the bench forever?
Well, apparently Tony Romo's going to get the start when he's healthy. That's not
true.
That's what I've got. That's what the word has been in.
That's not true.
I mean, I don't agree with it, but that's what I've been hearing.
That's not true.
All right.
I'll quote Stephen A. I'm not going to quote him. I'm going to mention, but what Stephen A. Smith said, what I heard he said on his From First Take the other night, that I'm sorry, not Tom Brady. Tony Romo has no business ever starting for the Dallas Cowboys ever again. This is Dak Prescott's team. They actually win with Dak Prescott. They did not win with Tony Romo. What should happen is once Tony Romo is healthy, the Cowboys should trade him immediately to a quarterback-needy team like the Browns to get Just get rid of him because he's an injury-prone quarterback. He's never on the field, and he just doesn't win games.
So for the Dallas Cowboys, they've been basically carried by now 2 rookies. Dak Prescott, a quarterback, and now Ezekiel Elliott. What do you think of Elliott's performance as well as Dak's performance?
The only reason he's successful is the offensive line.
the offensive line.
You can plug any starting running back or any running back in the league in there, they'd be successful. I could put Peyton Hillis and Trent Richardson on that team, and they'd probably rush for over 1,000 yards in the season.
That's the reason I think Dak Prescott is playing well so far this season. Also, is because
I think Dak Prescott's actually talent. Because if he's doing so well, why doesn't Tony Romo do well? Why does Tony Romo?
I think Tony Romo will.
Why is Tony Romo pansy and gets hurt every other day?
I think Tony Romo will do good when he comes back.
He will not do good when he comes back because he's never going to start again.
Tony Romo, the debate continues. I guess we'll have to wait and see until he gets healthy. We don't know exactly when that'll be, but we'll have to wait and see. But moving forward, the Buffalo Bills, the surprise of the year. They win 30-19 over the Los Angeles Rams. What do you think? Rex Ryan comes into a press conference, says, I've won 3 games straight. Is this Buffalo team going to make the playoffs?
I think they have a possibility to make the playoffs, but I don't see them making it very far. They're mostly a defensive team. I don't see much in Tyrod Taylor, personally. I mean, LaShawn McCoy is their leading running back. I think that's the main reason they're winning these games. But between them two, I don't see much.
Look, I really don't like I like Rex Ryan. I don't like Rex Ryan. I remember when he was head coach of the Jets, but it's painful seeing him with Buffalo now. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I think Tyrod Taylor is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. He reminds me of a young Michael Vick almost. Yep. And I think the way this Buffalo team designed is they have all the pieces together except for at receiver. But LaShawn McCoy is having a bit of a resurgence here, similar to DeMarco Murray. Mm-hmm. And that's carrying the offense right now. And if that continues, if he doesn't get worn out as the season goes on, and the defense keeps playing well, that Bryan Brothers defense, 64 defense, I think they can be successful, but their second half of the season is going to be much more tougher than the first half of the season. They're looking at a possible 6th or 5th seed, but I don't see them winning the division.
Well, Buffalo, now with 3 straight wins, moves to 3-2. LA falls to 3-2. Is LA, are they with, they don't have Jared Goff starting, they have Case Keenum, but is this more of a tactical move, or is this because
I think it's because he sucks.
Jared Goff? No good?
I think it's because they drafted him and they realized they made a mistake and they can't do anything now.
Mm-hmm. So you think Carson Wentz was definitely the...
Carson Wentz, I've always been the bigger fan of Carson Wentz. I thought Carson Wentz should have went number 1 overall. If I had the number 1 pick, I would have took Carson Wentz or Laramie Tunsil, disregarding the video that came out, because that was clearly just trying to sabotage him. But
so here's a quick little side note. Were the Browns idiots for trading the pick to the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, yes. I think so. I mean, but then again, Carson Wentz could have been a fluke on the Browns with a weak offensive line.
Carson Wentz has been drafted into an offense with already a lot of offensive weapons, and Brent Selleck and Zach Ertz and Nelson Aguilar and Jordan Matthews, Ryan Matthews, Darren Sproles. Yeah. So he was pretty much drafted into the Eagles weren't supposed to have that pick, and he was drafted into the perfect position to succeed.
So a quick thing just about Cleveland. What would you say is the number 1 priority they need right now?
A quarterback.
Cleveland? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have all the pieces but quarterback right now.
But then again, if they get a quarterback, the quarterback gets injured every week apparently.
It's quarterback and offensive lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving on from that slight diversion, San Diego Chargers played the Oakland Raiders. San Diego, Phillip Rivers, great quarterback, as we've said on the show before. But unfortunately, San Diego, the rest of the team is not that good. Oakland wins 34-31. How bad do you feel about, for Phillip Rivers?
I feel really bad for Phillip Rivers. I'm a huge Phillip Rivers fan. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's regardless of rings, I think just stats alone, I think he's a future Hall of Famer. It's just unfortunate that he's stuck with the Chargers, stuck with a team that can never get it done. He doesn't have the players around him to be successful, and that just sucks for him. But
the Chargers are a depressing team in my eyes. Like, I think they're very underrated. They seem to be up until the fourth quarter, then blow the lead. I mean, all 4 of their games they've been leading in the fourth quarter. They're second in the league for most points, and they still are 1-4. Like that's just depressing. I mean, they can't close out a game.
Very much. They played an Oakland Raiders team that's surprising. Derek Carr, a pick in a couple years ago, draft a couple years ago in the second round. They also pick up, they have Michael Crabtree as well as they have Amari Cooper. Is this Raiders team a nice, threat going down in a couple of years?
Yeah, I think the Raiders have a nice young team that has potential for the future. This year, I think they'll go pretty far. I don't think they'll make it to the Super Bowl, but I think they'll make it pretty far in the playoffs. But in the future, I think they're the future of the NFL.
I think the Raiders win their division, and I think they get 3rd or 4th seed and get eliminated in the wild card round by a more experienced playoff team that got a wild card.
Well, we move forward. The Green Bay Packers played the New York Giants. A New York Giants return game for Odell Beckham. He gets a touchdown, returns to his former self, but Aaron Rodgers and his offense wins 23-16. Is Green Bay, are they back? Are they gonna fight for their division as well as fight for that possible Super Bowl?
I think so. I think Aaron Rodgers is the clear-cut best quarterback in the NFL, undisputed right now. I think the Giants are a very good team also for their division, but I think you got the Packers going to win their division. They're going to compete for a Super Bowl. And, of course, the Giants can also compete once we know when at the end of the playoffs they usually go on runs.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Packers are a pretty good contender always with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback and all the receivers. Now that Jordy Nelson's back, I think they have potential.
Well, the Green Bay Packers move on to 3-1, and New York falls to 2-3. But as we move on to the last game, the Monday night game, Tampa Bay versus the Panthers. Panthers without Cam Newton, and Tampa Bay wins 17-14. What is this Panthers team? Are they in dire needs? Because even when they have Cam Newton, they don't seem to perform very well.
Yeah, the Panthers have surprised me. They've stunk this year so far. I don't know what it is about them, but everything about them has just been disappointing.
This was a much more exciting game than I thought it was going to be. We were thinking Derek Anderson's playing, it's not going to be much. Bucks going to dominate. This was really a game that came out of the wire, the final field goal by a really young, inconsistent kicker that ended up being able to make it from a long distance in a clutch moment.
Who also missed 2 earlier.
which was great for him, but this was a really exciting, close game, I thought. And I got to hand it to my boy from the Buccaneers, Jaquiz Rodgers. I call him Jizz Rodgers. Led them with over 101 rushing yards. So congratulations to Jizz Rodgers.
Well, Tampa Bay, a young team, Jameis Winston, Mike Evans, they're looking pretty well, a 2-3 season. Do you guys think that this year they're not going to make the playoffs and then future is what they're going to have to look to?
What team you're talking about?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I don't see Tampa Bay making the playoffs this season. Maybe down in the future, but this season I don't see it.
I think Tampa can make a comeback. I really like Tampa. They got all the pieces right now. They found a nice fill-in at running back with Jizz Rodgers, and they got good receivers in Mike Evans and Vince Jackson. And Jameis Winston is one of the best young rising quarterbacks around the league. I didn't like him coming out, but he's did nothing but impress me. And I think they can come out with a wild card at the end of the season.
So is it panic time in Carolina? Is it time to start worrying? I mean, you come off from a Super Bowl loss to Denver that you were expected to win by a majority of the public, and now you come into a season 1-4.
I think what it comes down to is you got to question the attitudes of the players and then the philosophies of the coaches and see where that's rooted. Because it's almost like they never woke up from the Super Bowl loss.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's disappointing.
Well, now Carolina now falls to 1-4, and times are getting a little rough for them. But that has been the entire NFL recap show. And catch us next week. We do have some things coming up this week. We have an NFL recap show next Tuesday, but we have also an NFL preview show on Friday where we get to see what's going to be happening in the
Make
the
our
world.
predictions.
Make some predictions.
And I'd like to throw in before we go that I was 10 for 13 out of my picks, and he was about 3 for 13.
Okay,
so.
And I'd also like to mention that if you haven't noticed, we're active also on Twitter now, so follow us at DKR Sports Radio on Twitter, and then hit us with that like and subscribe here on YouTube also.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
But I've been Rubin Wright. He's been Kyler Coutts. He's been Billy Frey. And we'll catch you later on DKR Sports.